Okay, so let's get started. Community Conserve is a program that has started about a year ago, but there are some changes to it and some efforts that we're making to try and help people understand it better, understand some of the opportunities here. So this webinar was created to provide that kind of overview and to mention some of those key things. What I'm going to do is just talk through what it is, and then in general how it works, and then information about a new program that you may have heard about. We've mentioned that through the newsletter list, and would have been provided through RMA's newsletter as well, about a matching grant program. So Community Conserve is a project of the Environmental Law Centre and the Mistakis Institute with the support of AUMA and RMA. So I think the place to start is just what it is. And at the base level, you can consider it to be a web platform. It's an online forum, and the idea is to give municipalities, municipal personnel, the opportunity to post and vote on issues and ideas around environment and conservation. And then it's a streamlined tool for pooling those resources, and that can be facilitated through that online platform. And then in the end, it's a repository of the useful reports, the tools, the products, everything that comes out of it. But I think it's also important to think of this as a municipal capacity building program, and that's why it was created. It was created to give access to environment and conservation expertise that municipalities might be having trouble accessing, to do so based on municipal viewpoints, which is a rarely represented viewpoint sometimes in the environment and conservation conversations, and then also to facilitate collaboration and co-funding conversations in between municipalities. Okay, so why did we create Community Conserve? And it's based on these challenges faced by Alberta municipalities, and we tried to create a program that would address a whole bunch of them. So municipalities are called on to address environment and conservation dilemmas of all sorts. And that may be by regulatory requirements, that may be by constituents asking for it. The environmental issues, the solutions, they're often defined by others and then pushed to municipalities, often in the context of, you need to solve this problem. For municipalities, all municipalities, sometimes even after the issue is identifying, finding expertise to address that issue can be very difficult. Funding is always a barrier. And there's often cases where, because we all have our heads down and we're pursuing the work that's right in front of us on our desk, municipalities might be unaware of other municipalities are facing similar issues. So it's that bundle of challenges that led to the creation of the Community Conserve program. So to summarize, it's meant to provide a forum for municipal personnel to say what they think are the priority environmental issues, to provide a mechanism for municipalities to pool their resources to address those issues and those shared issues, and then ultimately to provide this free repository of knowledge and information at the end. So who created Community Conserve? Like I mentioned, it was an initiative of the Mistakis Institute based in Calgary at Mount Royal University, and the Environmental Law Centre based in Edmonton. Between these two organizations, there's almost 60 years of experience, and both have worked helping dozens of Alberta municipalities with different environmental challenges. We also did it with the support of RMA and AUMA. These are Alberta's two largest associations, and they play a role of helping right at the beginning by helping us structuring the program, vetting project plans, I'm going to describe that in a minute, and then communicating opportunities and results to their members. So these four organizations together are the Community Conserve team. And if you hear me make reference to the Community Conserve team, I'm talking about those four organizations. We're also supported by an advisory committee that's made up of a number of people from a range of Alberta municipalities. And that community includes people from cities, large cities, small cities, rural municipalities, towns, people who are reeves or planners or counselors or staff members, parks folks, planning folks, quite a range of different people and a range of different perspectives that we will pass ideas to. And it's an ad hoc committee that sits and waits for us on, like I said, an ad hoc basis to pass to them ideas to say, are we off base, or are we doing the things that we're supposed to be doing? And does this mesh with the needs of Alberta's municipalities? So how does it work? I'm going to describe just briefly how it works, and then I'm going to go into this in a little more detail. The first step is posting environmental issues and ideas. Those ideas are voted on to see which ones have the most traction amongst a variety of municipalities. The ones that are voted on the most, we convert into project plans and post those back onto the site. And then municipalities can co-fund those plans. And the result of all of that work is put back onto the site and shared with everybody. So that's basically the structure, but I'm going to go through that in a little more detail. So the first step is the posting of issues and ideas. And we say issues and ideas because sometimes you have a clear sense of exactly what needs to be done, an idea. And sometimes it's just a thought of, well, this is something that we're facing and I'm not really sure exactly what we need to be doing about it. It's open to any municipal staff, councillor, manager. They can post their ideas from the perspective of their municipality or what they've seen individually, but all of these postings are anonymous. Now, we do ask you to add your name in that posting, but only the Community Conserve team sees that, and we use that contact information just to follow up, because sometimes we need to clarify or we might change the wording a little bit, and we just want to touch base with the person who provided that idea to make sure that clarification makes sense. Then the voting happens, voting on issues and ideas. And it's a simple click on those ideas that you see that you think are an issue for your municipality or you think is a good idea for your municipality as well. You can vote for multiple ideas. It's not just a single idea. And then a count appears for each one of those ideas that are listed on the site. And you can see how they're doing in terms of the number of votes that they've got, so that you have a sense of which ones are likely to trend to the top. Then plans are created. Like I said before, sometimes it's just an idea. We're not asking people to have to put forward a full-fledged idea, a comprehensive plan of what needs to happen. The Community Conserve team converts the top vote getters into project plans. And these are very simple, straightforward outlines at this point, just to say, here's an approach that could be taken to try and address that plan. Here's an expert that could work on that and create that. So the person providing the idea doesn't have to, or the municipality providing the idea doesn't have to provide the expertise. Here's a rough budget and a rough timeline. And all of that is posted back onto the site, onto the Community Conserve site. So the next section is the co-funding. And this is the opportunity where municipalities can come in and see the ideas that resonate with them. Not all of them will, obviously, but there might be ideas that resonate and they want to share the costs of that idea with other municipalities. This is different from the voting. This is different from the posting ideas, which is done as an individual. Obviously, only people who have budget authority within the municipality participate at this point. This point is not like what you might think of with crowdfunding, where you've got your phone and you click on it and immediately takes $10 from your bank account. All this step is starts the conversation. So no funds actually transfer through the site. It just connects you, because the process of funding something like this for a municipality obviously has a lot of detail, a lot of steps, a lot of complexity. So it might be we're trying to fit this into our budget cycle, or we're not sure, or we might have this amount, but it might be a different amount. All of that conversation happens in the back end with the Community Conserve team before anything is posted up onto the site. And then in the end, when all of the project is completed and all of the results from the project are gathered, those are shared back on the Community Conserve site free of charge. There's no registration required. We really want to make sure that this information is truly and widely available. What we do is we distribute it through something called a Creative Commons license, and I won't go into a lot of detail on that, but essentially what it means is anybody can use it, you just can't commercialize it. You can't turn around and sell it and make money off of that. So I'm going to walk you through kind of that same process, but just a little bit more detail with an example. So this is the first step. Remember, I said participants can post an idea or conservation issue. Any municipal councillor, any manager, staff member, whomever can participate. And what they do is they click, I want to submit an idea, and it brings up this project submission form. It's a short, simple description at this point. There's not a lot of detail provided here. And this example would be something like, what is the municipal role and liability in managing brownfields? It's just a question. It's something that you are wondering about, and you may be aware that other municipalities are wondering about. So then municipal personnel can vote on these issues or ideas. So here is what it would look like on the site. Each one of these has a box. This one, what is the municipal role and liability in managing brownfields? You can click on the vote for this issue or idea, and then you can see the number of votes that have already been gathered for that one. The Community Conserve team, like I said, converts those top ones into project plan proposals, and then those are posted back on the site for potential co-funding. So from the co-funding perspective, if you want to support a project, municipalities go and view all of the projects that are available for potential co-funding. And you can click on any one of them to learn more information about them. You get information about the project, but also about the status of it, who has contributed funding, how much funding has been put forward towards the total project budget at that point. And then if you decide that that's something that your municipality is interested in and you have the authority to make those kinds of decisions, then you click on the Start the Conversation button. And like I said, there's no immediate commitment. You add your information, you hit the Start the Conversation button, and it goes to one of the Community Conserve team members to get back to you and start, like I said, having the conversation. And then the last piece is getting the project results, the completed projects page. Each completed project has its own page on the site. So here's an example, the ALSA Conservation Tools for Municipalities, a webinar series that was done, lists all of the information about that project. You get the reports, the tools, the videos, whatever was created for that project, all on that page for that project and all freely downloadable and available. You also get the in progress projects here as well. So it's not just the case that it gets posted when it's all done. It also gets posted when it's in progress. So you can keep track of the progress. And if there are any interim materials or interim reports, those are going to be posted onto the site as well. So from that stage where there's a project plan to the actual agreement, again, using this brownfield project plan, the team develops the project plan, and then it can be more specifically scoped and the budget created and buy-in. That next step is engagement of the municipalities, and there's a couple of ways that can happen. So the Community Conserve team can engage those municipalities or the appropriate personnel or departments directly through the website. You're on there and saying, I want to be part of this, start the conversation, co-funding, or that you might receive a phone call from someone on the Community Conserve team saying, hey, this is a project that's gone up. I remember we chatted about this the other day. You might be interested in this. Then the next step is indicating the intention to fund. Like I described before, you indicate your interest with the intended contribution amount. And then there's the formalized granting agreement. And that's where you're seeking authorization for your budget allocation, confirming all of that, and ultimately signing a grant agreement for the Community Conserve project. And in this case, it's one of the projects that's been completed. Municipalities and Brownfields was a report that was created and is now available on the Community Conserve site. So some things to consider as you're doing this within your own municipality: what pool of funds can be accessed, what other municipalities might have the same issue. This is really important. If you can put in that phone call to somebody else and say, hey, we're going to be going on and contributing some to this, is that something that you think you can do as well? What's the internal process required for sign-off? This is the Community Conserve process, but obviously you have your own process within the municipality. Is everyone aware of the grant nature of the project and the public nature of the research and reports? This is not a services contract where you own the information. This is information is made available to everybody. Make sure everyone's aware of that. And then who in the municipality can provide that value added? Because at the point where the project plan is created and there are a number of municipalities who have indicated an interest, then there's also a number of questions that still have to be answered. And those municipalities who are providing funding have the ability to help answer some of those key questions. Are these the right issues and challenges? Are there some things that we can provide for properly scoping this and designing this? So thinking about who within the municipality could be part of that process. And then ultimately, how will the results be used in your municipality? What will be the learnings, and what will be the process for that coming back into your municipality? There are a number of projects that have been completed already. I mentioned the municipalities and brownfields, and also the ALSA Conservation Tools webinars. There's also a project for municipal management of industrial development, a conservation easement guide for those municipalities wanting to create their own conservation easement program, some clarity on the municipal management of water bodies from a legal perspective, a primer and model bylaw for environmental assessment for municipalities, a review of the scope of municipal powers just in general related to the environment, and then a white paper on how municipalities apply environmental reserve. So that gives you an idea of some of the things that have already been done under the Community Conserve umbrella and the kinds of things that could be done like that moving forward under Community Conserve. So I mentioned the grant agreement. Again, it's important to understand the nature of the grant agreement, and this is something that's made available to everybody, and it's a standardized grant agreement. And like I said, it's a grant. It lays out the scope of the services that are provided under the grant. Those relate back to the project plan that everybody has agreed on. Lays out the details of the timing, lays out a number of details that would exist in any sort of grant agreement. There's also clauses in there for cancellation and termination, because this is something where you might be waiting for other municipalities to sign on. If other municipalities don't sign on, there are some exit clauses there. What do we do if we only have a certain portion of the money? What happens if nobody else signs on? So those are built right in so that nobody is tied into something that ultimately it doesn't turn out to be viable. So what are the ways that you can use Community Conserve? Like, that's all of the kind of mechanisms, but the way that you would probably approach this as a municipality, the first is just to contribute to a Community Conserve project that you saw on the site. So an idea got enough votes to be converted into a project plan. That project looks like it could help your municipality. You think your municipality can commit some of the project budget. So you go to the Fund a Project page, find that project, fill in the form, and click the Start the Conversation. That's kind of the standard mechanism for it. You could also use it to leverage funding for an existing project. So it might be a project, an environment and conservation project idea that you already have, and you've already got another municipality, or maybe several, that you want to partner with, and you each have money but not the full project budget. You can approach Community Conserve and say, hey, can we put that up onto the Community Conserve site, and then have that become a Fund a Project page, and you can seek the final funding that you need for your project. Another way is to use Community Conserve platform for your existing project, just for a number of the other values that the Community Conserve platform provides. So in this case, again, you've got the environment or conservation project in development already. You have your municipal partners or several. And together, you may have, for example, the full project budget, but you don't know where to access the expertise for it. Or you need a mechanism for pooling funds. It can be challenging to pool funds when passing money from one municipality to another is always challenging. Or you're looking for a way to distribute the results more broadly, whatever that might be. Again, you can contact Community Conserve and say, can we have that project conducted through the Community Conserve platform? The last thing I'm going to leave you with is just a new funding opportunity that has started middle of last month, the Matching Grant Program. So what we're doing with this Matching Grant Program is trying to provide an opportunity to bolster things that may already be coming through the Community Conserve site, or to generate another opportunity for projects to come through Community Conserve. What it will be is up to $10,000 for 5 different projects. And the call has already gone out. We sent it out through the Community Conserve newsletter, and I'll give you information at the end that you can sign up for that. It also went through the AUMA and the RMA newsletters as well, but this is going to continue and be open until December 31st. So it's similar to the standard Community Conserve process. The projects are reviewed by the Community Conserve team. We're going to have the advisory committee involved in this as well to do a second round of review. And then projects are all different. We recognize that, but we're anticipating that they could be completed in the first 4 to 6 months of next year, so starting January. So essentially calls up until December 31st, work starting in January. The process is to just submit a simple proposal, it's that same kind of issue or idea, to info@communityconserve.ca, the main email address associated with Community Conserve, and just a couple of things to tell us: your idea or issue, who your municipal partner is, and I'll talk about that in a second, that's part of the criteria, and how much you think you can contribute. So basically how much you can put forward that can then be matched. That goes to the Community Conserve team. We create a project plan and we send it back to you and say, is this along the lines of what you were thinking? And if you say yes, then we throw that into the pot with the other projects for approval. If it's selected, then Community Conserve undertakes that work. And this is a question we got back when we first put the call out. Do you have to bring forward the capacity or just the funding? And again, this is something that Community Conserve was created for, was part of that that set of challenges is accessing the expertise. So Community Conserve provides the expertise. And the way that works is the Mistakis Institute and the Environmental Law Center look at it. If we determine with the Community Conserve team that we have the expertise to answer the question, then we can conduct it. If we determine that it's outside of our expertise, then we go and look for somebody else. But we try and stream that process as much as possible, but it does provide the expertise for the project. So the guidelines are, it has to be an environment and conservation issue. It has to require that what we call foundational information. And when you think back to that list of projects that have already been completed, that gives you an idea of what that means. It means background research, tool development, maybe it's a guidebook, legal foundation review, policy review, those kinds of foundational information. And it has to be proposed by an Alberta municipality. So it may involve other partners, but it's an Alberta municipality who's bringing it forward. And this is really critical. It has to be applicable to multiple municipalities. So this is something that you think other municipalities would benefit from as well. So it can't be just the need for your municipality. Not that that's not critically important, or that there might not be other opportunities for making that happen by contacting Community Conserve, but what we're looking for here are ways that we can provide information that benefit multiple municipalities. So how do you access Community Conserve? It's straightforward. You go to the site, communityconserve.ca. There's no registration mechanism. There's no fees. There's no fees to download documents or reports or anything like that. Like I mentioned before, all of the products are created under a Creative Commons license, meaning they're freely available. And at the site, you can also, in multiple places, sign up for the newsletter. But the other thing you can do is just send an email to the info@communityconserve.ca, or like I said, go to the website. And if you haven't been there before, take a look through